If God wanted a woman to preach, he would have put an example in the Bible. If a woman tells you that they're called to preach, what are you going to say?
It took a woman to tear it up and it took a woman to put it back together. So we're not an afterthought. You cannot silence a voice that God expects to be heard. My own husband, who did not understand, we didn't come to take away, we come to add. I'm an asset, not a liability. The dogma of the rejection of women in ministry is really pretty sad. You don't get the full benefit of God by denying women who they are. You as a black man, there's systems set in place to prohibit you from being all that you really can be. It has nothing to do with your ability, has nothing to do with your skill set. It's a system, it's teaching, it's indoctrination. Prayer wasn't doing it. We can't shout over everything. Prayer always worked, but sometimes you don't have the strength to pray. And I didn't want to pray. How about that?
Dr. Tanda Canion, pastor of Assemblies of Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Look right there in that camera and speak to women already. This is what we usually reserve at the end.
Okay.
But before we get started,
I want to say to any woman, yes, you can. No matter how you start, as long as you know you've been called by God, you don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain it. Just do it. Yes, you can.
I just feel, we were kind of talking about this, but I just feel a weight on our time together. And I already appreciate it. And I look forward to our conversations. Welcome to Legacy Conversations. And thank you for my yes to come and sit down and share. Not too much we've talked about prior because I want the conversation to be organic. I have made some notes as to what I might want to ask. I probably won't get to all of them. Why'd you say yes to me?
Well, number one, you family.
I love it. It's my auntie.
So family gets priority. But not just that, I believe it's God's timing. God's timing. He has a way of setting things up. And any opportunity I get to make God shine, I try to weigh it and see if it's the moment. And I felt like this was a moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's an important moment.
I want women to know and feel that I support them and that they are important in ministry. Ministry has been so male dominated for so long. We're starting to see the voices of women break through, but I wanted to honor women and their story and their struggle and their anointing and their gifting. And so again, welcome to Legacy Conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. What's your definition of legacy?
Leaving the next generation better. Leaving the next generation better. Yeah. It's one thing to leave the generation, but what are you leaving? Are they going to be better because you were here? And that certainly is a part of my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. So how have you started that?
How have I started my legacy?
How have you started leaving clues, tips to make the generation better?
One of the things I've done is I've chronicled it, and I've got about 15 books now that I've downloaded to the next generation because I wanted to have, long after I'm gone, long after my grandkids are gone, I still wanted to continue to go down the line. I just don't want anybody to suffer to me in ministry like I have without a mentor and a model. I think those are two very important things that you must have in ministry. If you don't, you stumble in the dark trying to find your way. So those were two things I didn't have, and I want to make sure that the next generation, whether it's a preacher, a woman in the ministry, or my sons and daughters, and my kids, to make sure that they have it better than I did.
Did you try to find a mentor?
I did.
What happened?
I don't know. It's just that level of rejection in ministry, when people don't know who you are, don't understand who you are, and you don't know how to explain that. Sometimes it can be a problem. Not that you want it to be, but just trying to find where you fit. If you go over here, you don't fit. If you're over here, you don't fit. You're too much over here, you're not enough over here. So
were you looking at men only? Or were you?
No. I eventually found my spiritual mother, though.
Okay.
But she was, getting ready to transition at that point. But I had found her years ago because it wasn't a whole lot of example of women in the ministry when I came along.
What'd you get from her?
Stamina, stick-to-itness, the lack of explaining who you are, because you don't have to explain what has already been established. So just walk in it. So I got that from her.
How long did she mentor you?
From a distance, maybe about 20 years of my ministry. Again, I've been preaching for 45 years. So those, 45 years.
You can't lie to me.
45 years.
So 20 years afar, how many years up close?
Maybe about 7 or 8.
You said that you bounced over here, you didn't fit. You bounced over here, you didn't fit. What was it about you? Use the word also rejection. What is it about you that men or women were rejecting?
I'm not quite sure. You can't put a hand on rejection. You just know how people make you feel. And it's not that you're trying to push away. I've never really wanted to be out front. That has never been my thing. It just happened. But I've always been pushed out front for some reason. But of course, it was at the hand of God as you look back over it.
Sure.
I've never tried to be out front. I'd rather be in a room and disappear. But it's hard not to find me. And again, that's not arrogant.
I like that.
It's just that whatever God put on you, He intended. You cannot silence a voice that God expects to be heard. And so trying to find it, you want to go in a room and be quiet, but you can't. So those are the type of things that kept you in limbo till somebody finally accept it or discover it, like my previous pastor did.
When was the last time you got pulled into something you didn't think that you were going to get pulled into?
Meaning,
you were in the room, you were trying not to be seen.
Right.
You were tucked in the corner and you said, somebody just has the propensity to find you and pull you up.
Right.
Pull you front and center. When was the last time that happened?
When I was 16. When I was 16 years old. In my church, my pastor could not make it a lot of times to service. My pastor say, you're preaching today or you're speaking today. Your first revival, your pastor say, I see this on you and this is what I want you to do. And I'm like, no, I'll support. Because I'm a servant. That has always been my thing. But he always saw it, pulled it up. When I went to college, same thing. So just almost every room, I'm pulled to the front.
You mentioned your pastor growing up. What denomination? Well, you know what? And I just want to mention this observation. It seems like the line of denominations is not even blurred, almost like it's leaving. So you used to have non-denomination, which to me, that was a denomination, the Baptist and the AME and et cetera. What denomination were you?
Baptist.
You were Baptist?
Raised up Baptist, got saved in the Sanctified Church, and the rest was history. Because, in the Baptist church, they weren't very accepting. And still to this day, I still deal with some of that. Yeah. Despite how long I've been preaching, some of them still is not very accepting of women in the ministry.
I remember growing up when I was being ordained, and this had to have been in 90. They give you the papers in which you're supposed to read and understand and get ready for the test. And one of the questions was on women in ministry. And I really hate to say this, but I think it complements what you're saying. It said, if a woman were to tell you they were called to preach, and by the way, my wife has served, I really say that she was the senior pastor. She has such an anointing, such an authority. It's a quiet power that she has, and she can preach. If a woman tells you that they're called to preach, what are you going to say? My answer that I was supposed to say, as I studied all the other questions and ready to sit before the council, was if God wanted a woman to preach, He would have put an example in the Bible. Now, I don't ascribe to that now. It's been a while since I've ascribed to it. But the reason why I did was because the picture was changing. Seeing women being given the opportunity to preach, the opportunity to minister, not just at home church, not just at Salem, but in other places. So like I remember the Juanita Bynums and how powerful she was. How does it make you feel?
How does it make me feel as it relates to women?
Sure. No. How does it make you feel for that to have been one of my ordination questions?
I think it's disrespectful because it's hard to deny. Women has never been an afterthought. They were always a part of the plan of God. No, Jesus is going to come without a woman. It took a woman to tear it up and it took a woman to put it back together. So we're not an afterthought. But the trouble is the sexism, misogyny. It is the bad teaching. I went through 7 years of that with my own husband, who did not understand that we didn't come to take away. We come to add. I'm an asset, not a liability. So the dogma of the rejection of women in ministry is really pretty sad because you don't get the full benefit of God by denying women who they are.
Your own husband?
My own husband.
How long have y'all been married?
40 years.
You've been preaching 45.
45.
So he knew clearly that you were a preacher.
Right.
That you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So was this a surprise to you? Was it something that I'm sorry, I'm just having a problem reconciling the timeline and the problem that it was with your husband. Help me out.
Teaching is a systemic issue. I tell you what, it feels a lot like racism. It feels you as a black man, there's systems set in place to prohibit you from being all that you really can be. It has nothing to do with your ability, has nothing to do with your skill set. It's a system, it's teaching, it's indoctrination. And so when we got married, I came to him as a preacher. I was trained as a preacher. I had been ordained by my own pastor. So coming over to him, I came over not to tear up your church. I do know a lot of women can tear up a church now. If you don't know your role and don't know your place, because I'm a wife before I'm a preacher, and we got to be clear about that. But I'm also called of God. I'm not just somebody's missus. I have a purpose. And he didn't understand that or know where to put that or what to do with that. It wasn't to outshine my husband. It wasn't to make him feel bad. I've always built my husband. And I do think that's a problem. And that's a whole nother piece. It is a problem. Now, my husband's not out front. He's not in public. He don't like all of that. I'm the one out public. There's nothing I plan to do. But he pushes that now. But for 7 years, I was in total silence.
No way.
7 years.
But what would make him marry you, or what would make you say yes to being married to him?
Right.
If you knew his theological stance and personal convictions of women in ministry.
Because it wasn't necessarily revealed at that time, meaning that, as you develop, as you grow, and all those things. Of course, I came to him as a preacher, but
and he knew that.
He knew that.
Okay.
But couples sometimes have to find their places, and sometimes it's a problem when you don't know, when you haven't had anybody to train you in those areas and teach you those things. So then you find in your way. Just like as you marry, you develop over time, you unfold over time, you change over time. So he had those teachings where women were separated from the men. Women didn't do but so much. Keep in mind now, we're not no spring chicken. So this is back in the day stuff.
I'm getting it.
So he came up under that type of teaching. And I'm thinking we're just going to build a ministry together until we start running into roadblocks. And so then, you don't know what to do with me. And I don't know how far to go. And, the mothers taught us to just pray it through. So I didn't fight him. I didn't fuss back at him. I didn't try to just go start a ministry. I'm going to preach anyway. I just sat in silence because I learned that I could do more on my knees than I could do with my mouth. That if I got out of the way, I knew God was going to address him because, again, you cannot silence a voice that God expects to be heard.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
I appreciate, I honor, and I respect your husband. Have had a chance more than once to be around him. Great guy. But that kind of seems like a setup as though he wanted you so bad that he was willing to commit to the marriage and you as his wife, but changed his mind. That's what happened?
I think so, to some degree. And the examples of women in ministry perhaps could have been something that he was in the back of his mind, because he did say that he had some women who tore up churches and yada, yada, yada. You know, as they began to get more popular, whatever, they abandoned home. But I said, I'm not your aunt. I'm not the lady you saw. I know my role. First of all, I take care of my home before I take care of the ministry. When I would do revivals, I didn't go out and stay when my kids were young. In this generation, I realize a lot of times women are a little bit too aggressive because they don't know their timing or place. So everything don't belong at the same time. My house was clean. I didn't go taking care of the church, and my house wasn't clean. My husband's food was prepared. So I'm like, I'm not a threat to you, so that has to become your problem and not mine. Because I understood my role. I had been mentored by some of the older women in the church, you know, as it relates to how to care for your husband and all those things that the Bible talk about as well.
Did it get confusing? I mean, for you to grow up Baptist, stepping out or feeling like, do you feel like you fit in the Baptist church?
No, because I knew I was called to preach, and I knew that wasn't going to work out.
All right. Could you have stayed in the Baptist church and not preached?
No, because that's my purpose.
Yep.
You can't hide purpose.
7 years. I just want to make sure I got this right. You're married 5. And then you're silenced for 7.
From the very beginning.
By your own husband.
That's right. Was
the church called Assemblies of Truth? And he started the church?
He did.
I know we living in 2026 at the time of this recording, 2026, but I'm really scratching my head, maybe primarily that first your husband silenced you. Second, that you stayed silent.
I did.
I think I know the answer, but why?
Because I feel like I didn't have to tear up my marriage to prove to anybody that I was called to preach. That if I'm called to preach, that God would handle. And see, this is what I think is a problem now. We don't know how to pray through. We don't know how to, we feel like just because you're gifted in certain areas, it might not be the time at this particular time to do what you've been called to do, if that makes sense.
It does.
Timing and seasons are very important. My husband was not in a position to understand what I was called. So I had to wait on that. That didn't kill me. As a matter of fact, it just kind of helped me reload. And so when God did do it, he did it big. Number one, he had to come back and apologize. When he came back to apologize, he came back after a fast and elevated me to co-pastor of his church. That from that door, because I waited, see, God gave me double for my trouble. Now, I didn't say he was right, because he was wrong as 2 left shoes. Because again, you don't decide who God gets to use. But I understood timing, and it kept. It kept. It could wait.
He was contrite. He apologized.
He did. He did. He did.
When he elevated you, did he put limits on you?
No.
It was like you had earned your stripes.
I had earned my stripes.
And your humility is what brought it out.
Yes. God will elevate you when you humble yourself. I didn't want to tap and again, look at how we do it. We tap our marriages and families trying to save the church. And, I was still ministering. I just wasn't in the pulpit. I don't have to have a microphone to do what I do. So, and then by that time I had children, so I didn't need to be out on the road. I would do, my husband wanted one day. He said, you can do one day. So I'd fly in, fly out. If you can't bring me back, then, hey, I had kids to get to school. And so I had all those, I won't say barriers, but it was a season. Okay. And then when my kids got older, I could do more. And then by that time, my husband and I, we had kind of developed our marriage a little bit more. So it was timing. I still don't believe he was right for doing it. But still.
Would he agree with you?
Oh, yeah, he would. He said it was 5 years. I said, sugar, it shouldn't have been 1. God didn't tell you to do that, baby. You was in error.
You called him sugar.
I called him sugar, baby. You didn't do that. That wasn't God. I never would believe that.
Did he agree with you? Did he agree that it wasn't God?
Yes, he agreed that it wasn't God.
Well, he just being stubborn.
Teaching and stubborn.
Men, and you know what? Men can be like that. We can have such a conviction on one thing, and the one thing is wrong.
Right.
And our egos, our whatever you want to call it, let's just stop at egos, won't let us, pride,
right.
It won't let us admit to our fault, even to our fault. Because I'm thinking that if I didn't embrace my wife's calling, how it would have hurt her, maybe even later. Matter of fact, I was the one that told she was called to preach.
Really?
And since she didn't want to listen to me, the Lord would keep her up at night for a long time. Now, my wife, as pretty as she is, as fine as she is just as stubborn. She can be.
Okay.
She can be. All right, take me back to church. And I want you to take your time. I see the hurt. No, I don't see the hurt. I see the delay. I see, maybe it was hurt. I don't want to describe or tell you how you were feeling. But the misogyny, as I was thinking about the time I'd spend with you, I was thinking about the patriarchy that was there 45 years ago. We're talking 25. We're talking about like the 80s? Oh. How did that, I don't know how to ask you, but how did that infiltrate the church? How tell me a story.
How did that infiltrate the church? Well,
and maybe not that.
Okay.
You're welcome to answer it.
Okay.
But one of the stories that maybe helped shape you, that made you double down,
okay.
that you had to deal with the patriarchy or the misogyny.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that. First of all, it's almost like Moses had already been trained before he dealt with Pharaoh. So by the time he got to Pharaoh, he had already been trained on the backside of the desert. It is very clear to me from my upbringing. I was raised in abject poverty. My father was an abusive alcoholic. I wrote a book called Blood on the Floor, and that is the abuse that I suffered. My mother suffered at the hand of my father. I literally wiped up my own mama's blood because of the abuse in the house. So it takes a certain kind of mindset to survive. And so by the time I got into the church, I wasn't sure if anything else could have been done to me. Because first of all, I was rejected in the home. I wasn't accepted there. I was always a scholar. I did exceptionally well in school, and those were ways for me to escape. So my mentality is, you can't make me not know who I am, no matter what you do to me. So that type of survivor mindset, by the time I got to church, because now you do know and must be clear that you got to survive in the church, sugar, or you're just not going to make it. And so by the time I got into all of that, I had already seen the dogma of a man, how men treat women, how my father treated my mother. And so I knew, first of all, I'm not going to accept but so much of that. But I understood the fact that men have their own ego tripping that they do. They feel powerful. And so my father wanted to feel powerful. And the way he did that was how he abused my mom. And so I saw my mother survive, take care of 6 children by herself, walk to work, put up with white folks so she can take care of her family, all of those things. So I had a model of survival. So by the time I got into the church, all the stuff they were trying to do, I knew how to escape that. So that's kind of what shaped me into the ministry, and how I've survived some of the things that men have attempted to do, how they try to be dismissive a lot of times. And again, it's not necessarily men bashing, it's truth telling. So with the next generation of women, they're not dealing with a lot of stuff, not even in marriages. But what I saw mom put up with, it kind of conditioned me with that survival mindset.
Okay. Impactful story, horrible story, traumatic story. But give me another one that you as a woman in ministry had to suffer. This don't even sound right for me to say. I was going to say from the trauma that a man placed on you. And the reason why I say it don't even sound right is because you're a graceful woman. You're absolutely beautiful. And you carry yourself in such a regal way. And you have that, like even when I ask you to say something at the very beginning, you have that unrattled, unshakable something on you. But was it like that during that time? Or have you grown into this, Dr. Tanda?
Well, we go from glory to glory, but coming out of abuse, and you already know how to survive, and you've seen the worst of the worst, mopping up your own mama's blood, living in abject poverty, not having enough, coming here to school with $20, and your mama say, you make it or you come back to this poverty. It creates in you a mindset that whatever else can happen to me is nothing compared to that. And not just the men. Women can be brutal as well. So, going through all of those things, I think they were segues to get you to where you need to be. So when you see this unrattling, it hadn't always been that way. I've cried. I've already did all of that. I'm not going to cry forever. So I had to make a decision. Either you're going to walk in what God told you to walk in. You're not going to be bitter about it. That bitter is a choice. I could be bitter. I could be angry. I could think of all the reasons why I should or couldn't. But I say, yes, I can. And I don't have to fuss about it. I don't spend my time trying to convince nobody I'm called to preach. I have been in churches where they sat me on the floor. They didn't let all these little fellas on me, no harm, baby, but all these fellas up there, and ain't none of them got my credentials. None of them preached as long as I have. You couldn't preach yourself out of a wet paper bag with a hole in it. But I'm sitting up there, and I know you don't have the goods. And I said, well, okay, that's fine. You can put me on the floor. It's going to be the same results.
Ew.
The same results. On the floor, in the parking lot, wherever you want to bring it, be fine by me. Because the record precedes me. The souls have been saved. I've fed the homeless. I don't have to prove anything. So when I'm chilling out, I don't have to prove it. It's been proven. It's tried. God's anointing is not just for the pulpit. It's to walk in everyday living. I could be at Houston's, and I'm going to have the same impact because I understand the God that lives inside of me. And so I ain't got to fuss about it. I ain't got to talk about it. I'm called to preach. I don't have to tell you that. The evidence is there. So what you see is nothing but grace under fire.
I'm going to re-ask the question.
Okay.
Tell me a story. Tell me a story that you've had to endure under the hand of a man, a woman, or the church or ministry.
Okay.
Tell me a good one.
My brother died a few years ago, maybe 5 years. Absolutely loved him. My brother did not believe in women in ministry. Only woman in ministry he believed is me, because he said I was his pastor. So my sister-in-law said my brother wanted me to preach his funeral. The funeral would be held at the church that we were raised in. And so the pastor met with me and said, well, Pastor, we understand who you are. We want you to preach the funeral, and we are here to accommodate. I get to the funeral. Now, if I'm preaching, obviously you welcome me back to the office. You welcome me to have a space to prepare myself. Keep in mind, I'm grieving over my brother, so I don't feel like your drama today. But by the time I got to the funeral, he says, your seat will be with the family. Now, I'm the eulogist for the hour. Where do the eulogists sit? In the pulpit. So instead of welcoming me to the pulpit, like you did all the people who did the prayer, the scripture, and all that, I'm like, I can't believe this is still happening at this season in ministry.
And how long ago was this?
Maybe about 5 years. My brother did about 5 or 6 years.
All right.
And so when it was time for me to minister, the deacon rolled out the podium to the floor.
No.
Packed out house. Now I done preached all over the world, all over the country. And
No
you know,
way.
and so you rolled this out for me to preach on the floor. So my mom just died a few years ago, and I made a decision. Either you're gonna have to respect, it's not trying to force my way, but again, I've earned my way. Either you have to respect that, or we don't have to have it here, because I'm not gonna go back through that. I've already been through that with you. So that was one of the defining moments when my brother passed.
Was it the same result?
Same result. Same result. Same result.
Same result.
Same result. Same result.
Tell me another one.
When my mom died recently, I had to have a meeting, but this time it was a little bit different. But just a few weeks ago, I was on a program at another funeral, and in the same environment because I'm from Alabama, so it was a decision whether or not to bring me to the pulpit or not. And so one of the people said, "You can just sit with the family, and we'll just call you up, and you just go to the mic." And so one of the other minister said, "Pastor, when they call you, go on up there to that pulpit." I said, "Well, I don't really want to deal with that." I said, "But I think I am today." Now he asked me to leave. I said, "But we're not going to keep going through those lessons.
You got time today.
I got time today. Bring it today."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And?
Well, I went to the pulpit, and the results were the same.
The results were the same.
The results were the same.
Did you surprise them?
I don't think so.
No. I'm sorry. Not in your preaching, but did you surprise them as you're making your way to the pulpit? Were they trying to redirect you?
Not this time.
Mm.
No. No.
You had that thing on you?
Huh?
You had that thing on you?
Yes, I had that thing on me, honey.
Baby.
It wasn't. I got time today.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with that anymore.
So you say that you and your husband, you said where the title is co-pastor?
Well, we pastor together. Yeah, co-pastor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who preaches more?
I preach out more.
Okay.
And he preaches in more.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of share. We kind of share, and I do a lot of the administrative part. Mm-hmm. My husband don't have to do a lot. Mm-hmm. I make sure he's well taken care of. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Keep the load off of him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He seems like a great guy.
He is a great guy.
He seems like a really good guy. Did you all ever have any other bumps, skirmishes?
Oh, gosh,
issues
yes.
Around ministry after he came to you
mm-hmm.
and did the fast, repented
mm-hmm.
around ministry?
Yes, because I have my own brand that, again, it kind of developed. And he pushed that. But then, you have those people elements. My husband's more of a teacher. I'm more of a preacher, okay? I'm more in the public. He is not. So there's that comparison there. So we try to keep other people out of our ear. He knows who he is, and I certainly know who I am. And so we have to work through all those things. Those things don't just show up. You have to work through those things, talk through those things, affirm each other, all those things. So we've gone through all of that.
Mm-hmm. When I came back home after seminary to work with Dad, he, in private, in the office, this is early on in my return, he said, "Now, Thirdum, Negroes are going to try to separate us and divide us. But as long as we stay together, we can make it."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Same thing. Long as we've been able to keep other folks out of our business, out of our home. You can say whatever you want to say about my husband to you talk about behind our back, but you're not going to get between us like that. We know who we are. He's comfortable in his own skin. My husband don't like all the hoop de ha. He's not necessarily on social media, but he's a strong Black man. He's a good provider, excellent father, and certainly he's a Tanda Canion pusher. And that's what's important. But vice versa. I take care of my husband. I support my husband. And he and I are just one. But we didn't always be that way. It took all of those things to get us to where we are. All the losing, all of the stuff we've lost, the foreclosure, all that stuff has made us over these 40 years. So it ain't all been pretty. I don't think that exists.
The pretty doesn't exist. I know it hadn't for me and Alicia.
I know it hadn't.
Yeah. As it's been some dark days, some hard times, some struggle, not only in ministry, but in us. I think that should be normative. I mean, it should be, I don't want to say normative. I think it should be expected. I was just talking to someone and they mentioned as they're making this kingdom move, how they've never had as much attack and as many problems as they have now. And I think that, well, I know that the devil hates marriage.
He does.
And I think that God is absolutely for marriage. And so really, I think the issues are around their attack of each other. All right. You said I can go as far as I want to go.
You can. Let's do it.
Have you ever had to deal with any hussies, as my mom, heifers? My mom would call them heifers when it's in church.
Oh, mean. Oh, yeah. Hey, my husband's good looking.
Yeah.
And it stands to reason.
Yes.
I had so many husbands, it's hard to count them. But, I try to stay in my place, meaning that I try to affirm my husband. I take good care of my man. So I said, baby, when I die, you're going to have a hard time because I'm going to love you so good until you're going to live off the memories. I said, so bring it on. Because anything you get from this point, it's a step down because I've already been proven, tried. We've gone through together. These girls not going to stay with you when you lose. These girls not going to stay with you when you ain't got no coins. Baby, I had to do my hair in the kitchen. I had to take your wreck and turn it into a check. Huh? I done been there with the lights off. These babies are not going to do that. So, whatever they can give you is no comparison to this queen.
Dog, you dropping bars.
I'm dropping bombs up in here. I'm trying to help you.
I'd take your wreck and turn it into a check.
Watch me. Watch me.
I love it.
Watch me.
I love it.
So you don't have plenty of husbands. My husband's good looking. But I say, hey, I'm not going to watch you. I don't check phones. I don't check emails. Because if you're going to do anything, you're going to do it. I'm going to trust what God has put together with us. And please be clear. I'm cute too.
Clearly.
Hello?
I'm clear that's clearly a fact.
That's it. Yeah. I'm telling you.
What's the closest skirmish or problem or encounter that you've had to deal with a heifer on?
A bold one who told me what she was going to do. Wrote a letter to my husband and told him that I was not his wife. I've had him to come by the church and tell my husband that I was not his wife. I said, well, maybe you should have thought about that years ago. I've been this, for years now. So those type of things I've had to deal with. Taking care of him and didn't want to do for me as a pastor's wife. Blessing him and didn't want to include me. Giving him a seat. I told him, take it, baby. Because anything come in this house, I'm going to spin it, drive it, whatever you want to do. I'm good. We ain't going to argue about that. Let them plant the seed. I'll take it and go down to Macy's or Neiman's or wherever I need to go. We're not going to argue about that. I'm not going to waste my time on that.
Boy, you are just so special. I'm thinking how many women could learn from it. I think oftentimes a woman feels like the fight is what makes her. And I don't hear any fight in you. I hear respect, your demand of respect. I don't hear you fight. You ever had to lay hands on anybody, man or woman?
No, I hadn't had to lay hands on because I can work you out without touching you. I do have that gift as well.
Yeah.
See, I know how to get you without saying, and see, I move in silence. I don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put no hands. No, we don't go there. Yeah, I would have more to lose than you, but it's a way to get it done without, going to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Personal struggles. You got them? I know the answer is yes.
So many.
What have you had to deal with personally?
Depression.
Yeah.
Depression. Some years ago, I had a breakdown. The weight of ministry. And I so admire you all. You had the courage to leave ministry at the time when you had to decide whether your health was more important. I had almost died during COVID. I was in that first round of COVID. And I was sick for about 2.5 years, still trying to preach. First of all, it was ignorance. We don't have to be martyrs. So those personal struggles of sacrificing too much in the ministry. When it's time to retreat, I was sharing earlier that, for years I missed a whole lot of things because my mode and mindset has been church without balance. So my new books are getting ready to come out for preachers that are coming behind me to take care of yourself, your mind, your body, listen to your body. I would do 2 and 3 cities in 1 or 2 days. That was abusive. God never told us to do it like that. So those are personal struggles, that depression. I do have a therapist. I do now. I used to did not have that. And we were taught to pray and fast it. You praying and fasting and it still didn't go. So that mental breakdown I had years ago.
The depression is what took you there?
It
or
did.
were there other things associated with it?
Other things associated with it as well. Not
mental
knowing
stuff or external stuff? Okay.
Yeah, mental stuff and external. Just a combination. I don't think you break down over one thing. I think it's a combination over time. All roads come to an end. And if you don't address it, then it's going to address you. And so, just pushing through and plowing through without dealing with the things at hand, from marriage to children to church to finances, all of that is enough to break a mule down. And so I was dealing with a whole lot of that without anybody to talk to. And, in the ministry, they tell us, you have to suffer in silence. And that's tragic.
My suffering was public. I mean, 3 times I had a sabbatical I had to take. Once was at Salem, and then the other 2 were while we were pastoring the church. And so mine was very, very public. And my third one landed me, in a 28-day treatment program in Seattle, Washington.
Wow.
Where my diagnosis was not good. It was bipolar 2, IED, intermittent explosive disorder, severe depression, severe anxiety, and all those kinds of things. And I believe it was because of the weight and pressure of what I was experiencing. Our children, the finances behind keeping a house together, ignorant Negroes, dangerous people, the betrayal on some regards.
Oh, God.
And let me tell you, I came out of treatment. I got home for the first Sunday in March of 2020. Of February. 6 weeks later, the pandemic was hitting. And the worst thing for anybody who's dealing with mental health is stress and pressure. What did yours look like?
It was, I couldn't get up. I wanted to just stay in bed. I wanted to be in a dark room, didn't want to be bothered. Multiple tears, of course, just constant crying. Not able to function. That's not me. If I'm not getting stuff done, especially around my house, something is wrong. I just couldn't. I just couldn't go any further. It was just too heavy. I just didn't think of anything I was doing was important or relevant. I wasn't needed. So it was very dark time. And not knowing how to get out of it. Prayer wasn't doing it. We can't shout over everything. Prayer always works. But sometimes you don't have the strength to pray. And I didn't want to pray. How about that? That's important.
I know what that feels like.
I'm telling you. But I prayed enough that had to have kept me. And, God had intercessors around to get me through it. Even when I went through that COVID bout, that depression, that isolation in COVID, it was brutal.
When COVID first started, it was horrible. But I remember telling my wife early on, I said, this is heinous because the enemy is taking away what we need. And that's interaction with each other. And for that to be happening to you during that time, and the inability to have body life, the exchange of life.
Yes.
I don't even have to ask you, probably did add. No, I know that it added. It added for us. You know, for a while, it was one of those things like, you know, okay, I don't have to do the responsibilities and this is helping. Figuring out how to do church a little bit more. You go in, you do your broadcast, and then, you know, you go home. You know, you have to deal with the pastoral stuff, but it didn't take long for that to get real old, real fast.
Right. It's a brutal process. And then even with now, I still have some what they call long haulers. I still have some of the COVID results because I was so sick. I coded on April the 11th, 2020.
Really?
Yeah, I literally coded.
So how long were you in that dark place?
About 2 years.
To where you were immobilized, could not move?
Yes.
Could you not preach?
Not much. No, because you know, I had brain fog, memory loss, falling. You know, I had every COVID symptom, double pneumonia, all of that during COVID. I wrote a book, Room 325. That was where I literally coded during COVID, and it talked about the darkness even in that room. So even after then, trying to recover from that, trying to get your bearings back, trying to get some sense of normalcy back, it was very, very, very challenging. And so even today, some of the issues that I suffer in my body is a result of COVID. I don't complain about it, but you know, it's still there.
Are you feeling anything now?
I do.
Can you tell us what it is?
Nerve damage. You know, COVID does a lot to your nerves. And so I deal with that, the nerve damage behind COVID. Sometimes memory fog. Not a whole lot, thank God he brought my mind back. But, you know, dealing with that.
You know, maybe I'll go in. I was going to say off camera, I'll tell you about a natural herb that we take, and it's soursop.
I just started that.
Good.
What is that? What is that?
So I was having the same thing recently for some other matters. And, you know, it hurt to touch, you know, to put on clothes or, you know, to grab your arm. And it was that painful tingle. Not the kind of tingle. Imagine your hand, you know, fall asleep on your hand or your leg or whatever. And then as those nerves are coming back, but it stayed. And they're called soursop bitters. That's the more strong one. And it didn't take long for it to help me. Now, people take soursop for other reasons, but specifically for nerve damage or for nerve issues, it was soursop bitters. And so, I don't know, maybe that's something that you can try.
I did just start on that.
The only reason, okay, I'm glad you did say that. The only reason I say that now is because maybe there's somebody here that that would help. You know, never would have known you were like that. People didn't know I was experiencing, nobody other than my wife. I wanna possibly end on, you mentioned your kids, your children. Tell me about your kids. How many?
Two. With 2 kids and 5 grandkids.
How old are your children?
35 and 32.
Here you go, line again. 35 and 32.
Yeah.
Our children don't want to be in traditional ministry now.
Right.
I'm 4th generation preacher. Jordan is our oldest. That's our daughter. Quad, Jasper the 4th, is our son. He's 21. And my wife and I both know it's their resistance to it is because of what they've watched their parents go through. Even though we tried to hide it, even though we tried to cover it, thank God they never lost their desire to be in God's presence. We're very proud about the spiritual, their relationship with God, because I think to be spiritual is dangerous. To say, all that kind of stuff is crazy. But their relationship with God, we don't have to tell them, go to church. When our daughter moved from Nashville to DC, the first thing she did, she was visiting every Sunday to find a church that she liked. She's been there now going on 2 years, 3 years. Our son, the same thing. He is going to be online watching something. We have a family prayer time every week, awesome. But they still don't want to be in ministry. They do not want to be in ministry, traditional ministry. I used to say, Jordan, you're going to run the church for me. No, Dad. Absolutely not. I pay you well. No, Dad. No, no, I will not. She's doing very well in her career. She's got her MBA. And, she's killing it. She's crushing it. Quad wants to be a pediatric surgeon.
Amazing.
So he graduates at the time of taping is 2026. He graduates in May. And it's off to med school for him. He's got a lot more education to go through. But we're starting to see that their ministry, I don't want to say starting to see, we've always respected, I don't know. We agree that Quad can be more dangerous in an operating room, ministering to those family members, blessing their spirits with peace, praying for. Quad is, you're not careful, he's an empath. Well, spiritually, got to learn how to deal with that and kind of talk a little bit about that. But that to me is ministry. Are your children in ministry?
No, they're not. As a matter of fact, my kids are still finding their way. And we got out of the way. I don't want them to be damaged any further. I mean, hey, if I didn't love God and knew I was supposed to be in there, I might not be in there. But truth be told, ministry is more than just the pulpit. It's more than just inside of the church. Nobody told me that. See, this is the beauty of information now that I didn't have access to. I wanted to be an attorney, but the saints told me I couldn't do that and preach the gospel. Why not? Jesus was Savior of the world. He did it in carpentry.
Why'd you believe him?
Because I followed leadership. I did what I was told. I did what the pastors taught me out of ignorance. And so I wanted to submit to that. And I thought that was the way. I still see how God guided my life despite it. But our children, they got access to information that we didn't have. They have mentorship that I did not have. My son is a tattoo artist, and my daughter has a wonderful salon, and they are creative kids. But in the church, they're still trying to find their way. And so I understand how they've gotten turned off. I mean, we're doing a little everything but burning down the church now. Baby, the church is in bad shape. So if I have nothing to aspire to, then why would I come? I could stay where I am. If we're going to do the same thing over here, we're just changing location. So this is why I preach so about holiness and living right, because this generation is not seeing much of an example. If we're doing the same thing, where do I have to come to? Ain't nothing wrong with nothing now. We're doing everything. Like I say, but burning down the church. And if we're not careful, God is such a turnoff for Quad and Jordan and all of them. They love God. But they're trying to find something. They're trying to see something here, and it's looking alike.
You said that they're trying to find their way, but you all got out of their way. What they're going through, what they're dealing with.
Trying to find their place in God, not mama's place. You don't have to do it like mama. You don't have to do it like daddy. As a matter of fact, I don't want them to suffer in the ministry like we did. I want, again, that's legacy. I want to pass down a better Jesus than what I knew. My Jesus was a suffering Jesus. They told us the poorer you were.
It was the white Jesus in the back of the baptistry.
Yes.
With the white.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hanging. Yeah, he's on the cross, but he did get up,
Yeah.
And he came that we may have life. I want them to have a better life. And so the suffering, they're not going to do that. They're not going to go through things we went through.
Were they ever closer to Jesus than they are now?
I'm not quite sure. I think in a different way, because now you got life on your own. You got to pray for. You got to pray for your own kids. You got to pray for your own finances. So I think they might be even a little closer.
Do you think they're living in a backslidden space? Or as a mother, that could be hard to say, especially considering that they may watch this.
Right. I don't think that they're walking in the fullness of God. I know that for a fact.
Got it.
They're not walking in the fullness. I know they love the Lord, but they're not walking in the fullness.
Has this been something that started in their teen years or 20s, 30s?
Yes. And Satan is crafty. If he can't get your parents, the best thing that distract you is coming after your seed. And so we've had to fight for our kids. We've really had to fight for our kids. They've been through some things that I'm hoping that at some point that they will share. But truth be told, they're called by God. I still believe the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. I believe that things that happen for them is because we're interceding for them. We'll never let go of them. Sometimes you have to walk in the shadows. You don't always have to be vocal. I'd rather you see my sermon than to hear it all the time. And so those are things we had to back up from. Just leave them alone and let God do it.
What would you tell a parents who find their children in the space that yours are? Mm-hmm. And let me be a little bit more specific, in their 30s. What would you tell a parent other than as they're finding their way, get out of the way?
Continue to pray for them, because if we don't.
Something else.
It really is not a whole lot else.
I know.
It's not a whole lot else. Be there.
Yeah.
We're always there for our kids.
Something else.
Try to continue to work on your own health.
Something else.
Rest in the Lord and in the power of His might. Rejoice in the Lord always.
I'm not gonna get you.
No, you can't. No. You just have to, as a parent, when you're preaching to others, it's one thing. Mm-hmm. It's about like a doctor. You get sick, you have to take your own medication. Mm-hmm. At some point, the pulpit can't just be your ministry. Mm-hmm. You have to take what you preach about, and you have to walk it out.
That's right.
It's hard to watch.
That's right.
You don't always agree with everything. And again, our kids cannot be we can't clone our kids. They don't have to be us to be effective. They don't have to do what we want them to do. Every parent have a dream for their kid. But is that God's dream? Is that what God wants? I wanted my daughter to go to Clark Atlanta like I went, but we were going across the bridge over there, and she said, "Mom and Dad, I want to tell y'all something." We said, "What is it?" She said, "I don't want to go there." You know what I said? Well, praise the Lord, baby. That's $100,000. What's your other choice? Mm-hmm. And so she had her choice, and we developed that. Mm-hmm. We stood by her with that. Mm-hmm. And so we were in the supporting role of what she wanted to do, not what we wanted to do, not what the saints wanted. I didn't want them to kill my kids, trying to be impressive. All preachers' children don't play the piano. Some kids out there doing a little bit of everything. So we have to pray it through and not allow our kids to be sacrificed for the church.
Two more things. When we heard the Lord tell us that phase of ministry was up, here's the funny thing. God never said ministry was over.
Right.
He just said that phase is up. So 2023, October, I start feeling something bubbling. Mm-hmm. And it got stronger and stronger as the year went. 2024, we shut the church down completely. No Bible studies, no meetings, no Sunday mornings. And we knew that was a risk that we were taking. But we knew that was also God. Took the kids on a trip that first week, and we had a ball. And we came back, that unrest was still there. And we start praying, God, what is it? And then a series of events happened to where we left ministry the way that we knew it. And I'm gonna be straight with you. Those first 5 weeks, I felt like a Hebrew slave that had been emancipated from Egypt.
I know it.
It was like the weight of ministry had then come off.
It's heavy.
We had struggled to renovate a church. We owned the church outright, but we had to renovate it. We had moved 2 or 3 times, and we were 45 minutes away from and so the audience for 20 years, we had our presence in Gwinnett. And so a lot of people just didn't want to move south. Mm-hmm. And that's not why we quit, because we've had those kinds of dry seasons. We stayed right there. We knew it was God. But if we had disobeyed God, if we had ignored what God was saying, you and I would never be sitting in a chair with my face, along the walls, talking about legacy. I never would have been as overt or as overt about my own mental health struggles. And I don't believe that. I know that this has released something from us. And you know what I mean? That was already there.
Yeah, took away.
But you talked earlier about weight, and time. and chronos, kairos, all those kinds of things. And we had our chief intercessor kept telling us, you're going to touch 1 million people, 1 million people, 1 million people, 1 million people. And one day recently it hit me that is God going to use this platform, not just for legacy conversations, but for the mental health space. Is God going to use this to touch the prophetic word that our chief intercessor has said? I don't want to say I don't know, but I know. And all of what you've said, all of what you've gone through, I see the mirror of it. And I'm convinced now you're my auntie. I got one more thing I need to talk to you about.
I do want to correct you on something, though.
Please,
before you go to this. This
does not surprise me.
Okay. You did not quit ministering.
Right.
The grace lifted for that season. So sometimes we stay too long. And that would have been more dangerous and detrimental than you moving. You transition to another phase. This is ministry.
Oh, yes.
It ain't in the pulpit, none of that. Because you ain't got the weight of whatever. But the grace for that had lifted. We stay too long trying to, we don't want to, we're people pleasers and all these other things. And the grace for that has lifted. And you can tell when you don't want to do it like that anymore. You can tell when it's time to move on. You just don't have the drive to do it like that anymore. So the grace for that had lifted. And so God is moving you to another phase of glory. So you're going to reach more people here than you will with just the pulpit ministry. So you didn't quit. You just transitioned to another level.
Is your grace lifted? Are you tired
of doing it? It is lifting for certain things, yes. It is.
Do you know what's
next?
I
ain't mad about it. Huh?
You know what's next?
I don't know what's next.
Okay.
When God spoke to Abram, he didn't have any direction.
Follow me.
Just follow me. He can't tell us everything because it's too scary. And then when we get bumps in the road, we don't have that level of passion and faith. So God does not tell us everything. These folks that be lying when they talk about God spoke to me, you don't know the details. He may have told you, but he don't tell you details. He don't tell you details with kids. He don't tell you details with marriage. You have these little showers and have that big old wedding, that big old cake, baby. He don't tell you everything. So we move from glory to glory. So you didn't quit. You just transitioned to another phase of ministry.
It's always there. I'll always be a preacher. But I'm grateful for a God transition. And you know what? I've gotten to the point to where I've stopped trying to explain what God said.
Right.
Because a lot of people got mad at us.
I know.
And it was almost like they were being selfish. Like you believe for them, you pray about their purpose and their future. And so now you are putting yours on display, and God has said, and to be so selfish of the one that has been there, you just don't get it. But again, you don't have to. We owed an explanation. We tried to make it. When I say an explanation, such a drastic change, you got to say something there that has to be addressed.
Sure, that's important.
But when it comes down to feeling guilty and feeling bad, baby, no more. Absolutely no more.
Explanation required.
I'm happy. You are now in here. My words. You're a shock preacher.
I mean, what kind of preacher?
Shock preacher.
Meaning?
Like there's this one clip on you telling ladies to put their tatas up.
Something need to be said, don't you think?
Oh, shoot, yes.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying it.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying it the way that you said it.
Yeah.
A lot of folk heard that. Is that your typical style of preaching?
It is. I'm a pretty straight shooter. I'm a truth teller, but not in a brutal way. It's always, I'm never going to tear you up and don't put you back together.
Yeah.
But if I got to get you, I don't have no trouble with that.
How'd you learn that? Where
mom,
did you learn that?
My mother.
Your mom would just tell
she wasn't
like
a preacher. She had to tell you the truth. Because the truth is what make you free. If I sugarcoat it and bandage it up and all these type of things, it's not going to help you. And so, especially in this hour where truth telling is dying out because everybody's offended, everybody's judging. But we must speak the truth in love. And so I didn't mind telling. It was a private setting, but I didn't care that it got out, because if you say something, you got to stand by it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that this is mothers in the church are lost. I think that women in the ministry,
board.
the mother's board, this generation don't listen to you. They don't have no stick-to-itness. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to pray through. They look good, but it's no substance there. You know how to be a wife. How to be a wife in the ministry, how to be a business owner, a wife in the ministry, raising children. And so those things are bloody situations. And there's blood on the floor. How do you manage that? Somebody got to tell you. Am I talking good? Somebody got to tell you.
You're right.
We're not just shells. We're supposed to have substance. And women who expose themselves, to me, it's a lack of confidence. It has nothing to do with your body. It has to do with your presentation of your body, because I don't want you to be attracted to just how I look. I want you to see me for the person that I am. And if somebody don't tell the women that, see, back in the day, those women would tell you, baby, you don't let no man come and blow for you. My mother, you can blow at my house. You got to come in. Who's taking my daughter out? My kids didn't go up in no room with no boyfriend. You call it old-fashioned, old school, whatever you want to call it.
I call it right.
It doesn't matter to me. That's the truth, though, isn't it? You don't sleep around. So women can't bounce back from certain things men can bounce back with. I don't want you to just see my body. I want you to see me as a woman, to love me as a woman.
Yeah.
So I must carry myself with class and style. So that clip was born out. It went viral, but I still mean it.
I know you do.
I do.
I know.
Pull that dress down a little bit.
What'd you tell him?
Put them things up. Put them titties up. Get out of some of these leggings on the praise team. These men, when a man come to you and say, please talk to the women, you know it's bad.
Yeah.
Because when he get ready to get married, he's not going to take you home to his mother. He'll sleep with you and everything. But a man want to be able to trust a woman that he might have to go out of town with. But if you a hussy and not living right and don't have no kind of standard, class is still in style. It's sexy. We see you. You fine, but it shouldn't be on display. Certain things happen in my bedroom. They don't have no business in public. That's for the bishop. See? That's why I've been married for 40 years, baby. I know how to take care of business. But it's not for all the brothers and all the, when you walk in the room, you want to have grace and a standard.
That's right.
And no matter what a man say, he still wants that. It's not going to go out of style. It's still popular to be a lady. And that's what I'm trying to tell the young girls. It's okay to be classy.
You sure told them.
I told them.
You told them.
Did I hurt any feelings?
I don't care.
I don't care either.
Listen, thank you for spending some time with me.
Yes.
What will your legacy be? Bullet pointed.
I would leave a legacy of stamina, strength, grace, stick-to-itness, as a mom, intercessor, as a wife, a covering and a protector for my home, as a pastor, a loving pastor who speaks the truth in love, and just strength. I would leave a legacy of strength.
Love it. Never had anybody say that one. What's out? Where is it? How can people find you? What do you want us to know?
My website at tandacanion.org. Pretty much my team keeps that pretty good. I have a conference that I host every year, the Empowerment
That I
Conference.
have been so privileged
and so amazing
to be a part.
So amazing.
More than once.
So amazing. You always leave everything on the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
so the website?
Website. I have books.
And spell the name for people. Tanda. I'm sure it'll be on the screen.
TandaCanion.
TANDA. Okay. All right. I thought I heard an E.
Canion.
All right.
TandaCanion.org.
Yes.
I got books out there. My 2 new books is dropping in a few weeks called Preacher and Am I Talking Good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you again for sharing with my audience your grace, your elegance, your beauty, your presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.